I've read out a couple of tweets previously from the UKIP representatives in Sutton, and they were bombarded themselves with instructions to, and I quote, grow a pair and call in. I'm delighted to say they have. Glenn's in Sutton. Glenn, what have I been getting wrong?
Hi, James. Thanks for taking my call. And I'm going to offer a small apology for my initial tweet.
No, come on. The UKIP's all about saying what you think and standing up for your convictions. Don't start backtracking before we've even said hello.
I'm not backtrack completely.
I
do find your interviewing style is it's your trademark and you're excellent at it.
Thank you.
I do sometimes feel, though, that...
Tell me what I've got wrong.
I'm not going to say what you've got right or wrong, because politics, it's a very personal opinion. I mean, I'm not...
No, well, let's not do opinions. Let's do the facts. What have I said that's factually incorrect? Because you're tweeting for impartiality. That suggests that I've been... In fact, you used the word bias as well. What have I said in the last 54 minutes that's wrong?
I'm not saying that you've said anything. I am, actually. I'm going to say that...
Well, make your mind up, Glenn.
I'm sorry. Factually, the UKIP party are not the BNP in suits. That is a fact that is incorrect.
Well, no, that was one of my opinions, but it was based upon the fact that the candidate who rang in at 10:10 couldn't come up with a policy that UKIP or a change to Britain that would be brought about by withdrawal from the EU, except to mention that BNP's immigration policy would become law.
Well, as I believe Donna was trying to say, it's not necessarily about repealing laws immediately. It's a question of...
But you keep telling us that 70% of our laws are made in Brussels, and we have to claw back. So what laws? You tell us now. You do what Glenn, you do what Donna failed to do. What laws need to go?
I'm not going to talk about... I don't want to repeal a law specifically right at this minute. What I'm saying is, it's the right to determine your own laws. It's like...
Well, give me the proof that we don't.
Well, you know what the proof is, because you heard one of the EU commissioners say it yesterday that 70% of the laws are made and set in Europe. You heard it yourself.
No, I didn't. And I don't want you to quote EU commissioners at me. I want you to tell me what these laws are that we shouldn't have, that we've failed to resist, that we didn't want but ended up with.
Again, you're deliberately misinterpreting.
Glenn, I promise you I'm not. I'm asking someone who believes that our laws are made in Brussels to tell me which laws he's upset about.
I'm upset about any laws. Well, there are some things that I don't like.
Go on, tell me, what?
Specifically,
yes.
What I'm saying to you, what we're all saying to you is, we believe that the government of Great Britain should be making the laws for Great Britain. They shouldn't be being...
So what are the laws that they couldn't make?
Sorry, what laws are...
What are the laws you want the government to make that they can't because of Brussels?
Oh, you're very good at this, James.
Because I'm right.
Well, again...
Now answer the question.
Which question you want me to ask?
What laws... What laws... You represent UKIP in Sutton, you phone me up after being rude on Twitter, respect to you for that. It's not going terribly well, respect for you for that even more. What are these laws that we can't make, that you want to make?
Any.
Yeah, any.
All laws. We can't...
Go on, give me one.
Okay, how about making trade agreements with other countries outside the EU?
We can do that. What do you think we've got? What do you think we've got with America? What do you think? Where do we export most of our arms to? Next.
Okay, suppose we wanted to know... Okay, you know what?
Do you think you should close? Do you think you should close the Twitter account?
No, absolutely not.
All right, well, give me the law then. Come on, give me another one.
I've given you an example. You asked for an example.
And I've just pointed out to you we sell all our arms to countries outside the EU, so we must have trade agreements with Saudi Arabia, probably even still with Syria. So give me something that's true.
Okay, well, Donna already mentioned free movement of people.
So close the borders, back to the BNP. Give me something else.
No, it's not the BNP.
Yes, it is.
To do with the BNP.
Yes,
well,
it is.
Not really.
So what's their policy on immigration?
I'm not familiar with their policies.
It's exactly the same as what you just said.
As you well know, UKIP is the only political party that bans members from the far right.
It's the only political party that had to, Glenn.
Pardon?
It's the only political party that had to.
Well, no, Labour have ex-BNP councillors.
Yes, but they've changed their views. BNP people who get into the UKIP ranks patently haven't. But you're distracting. You're doing what politicians always do, Glenn. You're trying to steer us away from the central issue.
I'm a very normal person. I've never even been a member of a political party before.
So, what is the law that drew you towards UKIP? What was it that you woke up in...
I tell you what, it wasn't a specific
law
that
then, what
drew
was
me
it,
towards
mate?
UKIP. It was, having been formerly a Conservative voter.
Yes.
I became increasingly disillusioned with Mr. Cameron, and maybe this ill-conceived and ill-fated coalition. I got upset with the cast iron guarantee of an in-out referendum that didn't materialise.
On a treaty that doesn't exist.
Well, you know, we can go into technicality.
That's not a technicality, it's a statement of fact. Either a treaty exists and you have a referendum on it, or it doesn't and you don't.
And you don't. Okay, well, there was no referendum.
And anyway, now he's pledged to have a referendum, so you should be back in your good books again. Glenn, do you think this could have gone, when you picked up the phone, do you think this could have gone any worse for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could have taken a lot more of your bait, but I tried not to because you're so good at this. I'm
not good at anything, Glenn. I'm asking you questions that you can't answer, which you think...
Well, you're not. You're asking me questions that I've already said aren't relevant to the point I was trying to make.
So the question about what laws do Brussels make that you hate... That you can't name any. The fact that you can't name any.
This is what I'm trying to
Okay, so you don't hate any laws. They haven't done anything that you don't like, but you've joined a party that is uniquely dedicated to withdrawing from that institution that's done absolutely nothing that you've got any problem whatsoever with. Glenn, I mean it. I really mean it. I think you're a big man for ringing in. I don't think you will again. Start with Jack, who's in Welling. Jack, what are they for?
Well, no, James, first of all, I've got to correct you, and you keep saying UKIP are against and opposed to immigration. They're not. Why do you keep saying that?
Because that's what it says on the leaflets. We're full, we can't take any more, we've got to pull up the drawbridge, to quote Mr Farage himself. The numbers on the leaflets that were being put through letterboxes in Clacton talked about 500,000 people have arrived here in the last few months, and we simply can't accommodate them, and none of them were in Clacton.
Which is all true.
Well, I've just answered your question. So, none of them were in Clacton.
Well, hold on a minute. Well, Farage doesn't say that. He consistently says a quality system and a control.
No,
so how is it opposed?
The question you asked was, why do I say that? And I'll quote you, Mr Farage, saying we need to pull the drawbridge up. So, admittedly, he changes his mind every 5 minutes.
That's control. That can come under control.
Well, a drawbridge. Controlled immigration over a drawbridge that isn't there. Okay, we'll give you that. So what do they stand for, Jack?
They stand for everything that the majority of the country have on their minds, James.
Yeah, go on.
For some reason you don't understand.
Go on.
Well, immigration, obviously.
Well, they don't stand for immigration, do they, Jack? We're trying to work out what they stand for. We know what they're against. What are they for?
Well, they're for the fact of the, they're listening to, obviously, what people want.
What are they for, Jack?
For loads of things, James.
Go on, then.
Well, tell me what they're against.
I already have. Now tell me what they're for.
Well, they're for a fairer Britain.
How does that work?
A sensible Britain. What do you mean? It's common sense.
No, it's not a policy, is it? We're all for a fairer Britain. We're all for apple pie and mother love. What are they? Give me a policy that they're for.
No, but the elite are not. What are you on about? The elite are not for a fairer Britain.
No. You mean the elites like people who pay £4 million to a political party and end up as campaign manager? Or people who donate £1 million on the lawn of their stately home? Or people who went to public school after a career in the city and boast about being Enoch Powell's chauffeur because he was the only one with a Jaguar? You mean elites like them or a different kind of elite?
A different kind of elite.
Well, what kind of elite?
Money, James.
What kind of elite, Jack?
Every party needs money, James.
Yeah. Are we going to get a policy that they're for? What you're going to march for? What are they for?
Well, every party needs money, James. So let's get back on that point a minute.
No. The question we're doing today, the reason you rang in, the phone-in topic du jour is this. What are they for?
I've just told you a couple of things.
No, you told me common sense and fairness. They're not policies.
NHS.
The deputy leader of UKIP has stated that he cannot see the NHS surviving in its current form because it doesn't have any commercial competition. Paul Nuttall has deleted the tweet, but he's stated categorically that the NHS shouldn't even exist as a public sector service. So what are they for?
Is that in the manifesto?
What are they? I don't know what's in the manifesto because the economic spokesman made a speech at the conference and 2 days later the leader said that wasn't a policy at all. I don't think they've published a manifesto yet, have they? Well, you tell me, you're the supporter. What is in the manifesto?
Oh, there's too much to list right now.
Well, just give me your favourites, Jacko, come on.
Well, the fact of open-door immigration will
No, we know what they're against, Jack. What are they for?
That's the main... But hold on a minute. That is the main question on everyone's lips at the moment is immigration, because it is destroying the country.
I'll ask you again.
Too much of it is destroying the country.
I'll ask you again. What are they for?
I don't care whether UKIP were for some other things that I would definitely not agree with. The fact that they're for the closure, or as you say, drawing the drawbridge up of immigration and slowing it down a bit is all I care about.
Okay, I understand that. Can you explain to me then why you think immigration was responsible for the problems of the people in Clacton where there isn't any immigration?
Because they know if they don't vote someone like UKIP in, it will end up being down there like it is in loads of places in London, in Bradford, where you can't...
It'll be like what?
What do you mean, be like what?
Do you just mean it'll be full of foreigners?
Well, yes.
Okay. Mate, I applaud your honesty. Tony's in Bounds Green. Tony, what do you think?
James, I'm a UKIP supporter, but I don't want you shouting at me straight away, because I find that's what you tend to do these days. What's interesting is who is actually making policy. Immigration...
Can we talk about last night's debate? I'm saying that very quietly.
Let's talk about last night's debate. If you look at the immigration issue is a very complicated one. We've ended up with being pro and anti, rather than who actually makes immigration policy and how many people should be allowed to come and go. We've got a fake argument between those who are anti-immigration and those who are pro. It's about the numbers and about who makes the decision.
What happened last night?
Well, what happened last night is Nigel Farage made a great point that a government, or in fact a constitution, our now constitution, has given unalloyed rights of 485 million people to come.
So that number resonates with you, my friend?
Well, it's not the number, it's the fact nobody knows the number. That's the great crux of it.
I thought you just said it was 485 million.
I'm talking about the actual number of people that will or will not come in.
So the thing that you're frightened about, you don't know the number?
I'm not frightened about it.
Troubled, concerned.
No, I'm not frightened. I don't think a responsible government should have no immigration policy whereby nobody comes or huge numbers of people.
But don't you have to gauge your reaction according to the scale of the problem rather than the potential problem?
Well, you cannot doubt that we've had a massive immigration into this country in the last 10, 15 years.
But it hasn't been a problem.
Well, it hasn't been a problem for you, but I can assure you it's been a problem for a lot of people.
How has it been a problem for you?
Well, if I go to a school and I want to put my children in a school and I'm told that the first thing I'm told is that they have a prayer room, the second thing
Did that happen to you?
Yes, it did, and a lot
Where's
of teachers...
the school?
Can I just finish?
Well,
and a lot of teachers...
actually, I want to clarify a couple of details first, and then you can finish. Where's the school?
I'm giving you the details.
Where's the school?
I'm giving you the details.
What's it called?
And teachers wearing badges saying, I speak Bulgarian.
What's the school called?
At Broomfield School.
Whereabouts?
In North London.
And they have a prayer room that you think is a result of EU migration?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I mean,
so that would be Muslims, would it?
What you've got to do is let people speak rather continuously interrupt.
No, Tony. What I have to do is highlight the detail of the claims that you're making. So Broomfield School in Bounds Green has a prayer room that you think is full of Muslims who've come from the EU.
I don't like the way you say "full of." I'm talking about priorities. What you're doing?
No,
here,
you're not. You're talking about a prayer room.
What you're doing? You talk.
Let's just clarify the details that you've said.
I am clarifying.
So the prayer room. Who is the prayer room for?
I'm clarifying.
Who is the prayer room for?
You do not believe there are pressures.
We're talking about a debate from last night, and you're talking about a prayer room in a non-existent primary school.
Well, let's talk about the debate last night. The debate last night was about who governs Britain.
Hang on, I think we've got the school on the... Have we got the school on the line? Can you talk to them, Tony?
Oh, this is a form of bullying, isn't it?
Why? You just named the school. I think we've got them on the line.
You really don't understand...
Can you talk to them about the prayer room and the badges, or not?
You don't understand what's going in the country. You don't want to talk about it. This is the problem.
Tony, do you want to clarify the point you made, the first point you made about prayer rooms, or do you want to challenge my view that people who support UKIP will always start telling fibs? 34 minutes after 10, we've spoken to the school mentioned by Tony in Bounds Green. They haven't got a prayer room, they've never had one. That's why I get cross. I know sometimes you don't like it when I get cross. If people lie to you, I'm getting cross on your behalf, especially when they're lying about things like that. You say, how has this immigration problem affected you personally, as opposed to you're affected by people like Farage throwing around meaningless numbers that they admit they've made up? How has it affected you personally? And Tony said, I don't want to go to a school with a prayer room. Name the school, he named it, we phoned them up, they haven't got a prayer room.